Joining us tonight, Andy McCarthy, the former chief assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. He worked in that office, by the way, for almost 2 decades. Andy is now National Review contributing editor, Fox Business contributor, great American. Andy, good to have you with us. First, just your reaction to the idea of reparations that Cory Booker has brilliantly brought to the fore.
I was thinking maybe Senator Booker can borrow the money from Senator Sanders. Seems like the socialists are pretty flush these days. Maybe there's something we can work out here.
I think you've got a boffo idea, and there seem to be more folks possessed of great, this lust for other people's money that it seems unending. Let's turn to William Barr today. I thought he was absolutely terrific. And I thought, by the way, he made what I consider to be some rather diminutive characters in Congress look even smaller.
Yeah, you could tell, Lou, by the end of this that it almost seemed like a non-event, and it's because I think of how deftly he handled the questioning. He's a very smart, savvy guy. He's also scrupulous, but I think the important thing is that, you know, he's been at this rodeo before and he knows how to handle it.
And how to handle it. I mean, let's watch this exchange, if we may, with Nita Loy again. She was just dumbstruck, apparently, that he could formulate within 48 hours a concise summary of Robert Mueller's investigative conclusions. If we could roll that for everyone.
I must say it is extraordinary to evaluate hundreds of pages of evidence, legal documents, and finding based on a 22-month-long inquiry and make definitive legal conclusions in less than 48 hours.
The thinking of the special counsel was not a mystery to the people at the Department of Justice prior to his submission of the report.
Could he have more delicately and kindly reminded the Congresswoman that she should be more constrained when sitting in front of intellectual superiors?
Yeah, and the other thing, Lou, is as you played the clip, and I've heard it a number of times today, I was trying to imagine what she would have said if Barr had not turned around Mueller's conclusions and reported those promptly. Imagine what they would have been saying in that case. Of course, the Justice Department was aware of what the special counsel's investigation was. In fact, Congress had Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, in for testimony a number of times. He didn't answer a lot of the questions they asked, but he made clear that he was aware of what was going on in Mueller's investigation, throughout Mueller's investigation. And there's no doubt in my mind, having been a prosecutor who's made long submissions to federal courts before, that when in the report itself, it'll be clear in a pretty straightforward way exactly what their findings were. So, I think what the problem is here for the Democrats is they're disappointed in the findings.
Exactly. And their dismay at Robert Mueller, who was, as the president pointed out in a couple of tweets, he was the great hero. He was the savior of the radical left in this country. He was, without question, going to find collusion with the Russians. And my God, what happened after almost 2 years of investigation? Nothing, because as the president had said from the outset, there was nothing to find. And that is what the left has before it now. They're attacking Robert Mueller, for crying out loud. This is just a pathetic display. Your thoughts about how we go forward now with the Attorney General saying they're going to investigate how this all began. That sounds like that should have a lot of people who've been forced out of the Justice Department, out of the FBI, very nervous, and maybe some of those who remain in leadership roles in the Justice Department and FBI.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway on that today, Lou, was that the Attorney General himself said he is looking into what happened here. So this is not one of these situations where he seems to be sloughing it off on someone else or delegating it. He also said that by June, no later than June, and perhaps as early as May, we'll at least have the Inspector General's long-awaited report on this. So that's one thing, and the more disclosure, the better. But the fact that the Attorney General himself is giving his attention to this, I think, is heartening.
Heartening indeed. As Victoria Tensing and Joe DeGeneva said earlier about this man, we will have a real Attorney General. It appears that is exactly what we have now. Andy McCarthy?
Sure do. Yes, he's terrific.
No, sorry, go ahead. Is that your last word?
Terrific is a good word to end on, don't you think?
I do, but even better are the words "Happy Birthday." Happy birthday, Andy.
Oh,
and thank you.
Thank you so much, Lou. I appreciate that.
Thank you for sharing part of your special day with us. We appreciate it.